Welcome to the Author Show, where we always present new authors and books, from fiction to self-help and everything in between. You name it, and you will find it here. To watch the TV version of the show, visit authorswebtv.com. That's authorswebtv.com. And now, let the show begin.
Hello and welcome back to the show. This is your host, Don McCauley. Today we're welcoming to the program author Steve Lindahl, and Steve is the author of Motherless Soul. Steve has published short fiction in Space and Time, the Alaska Quarterly, the Wisconsin Review, Eclipse, Ellipsis, and Red Wheelbarrow. He served for 5 years as an associate editor on the staff of the Crescent Review, a literary magazine he co-founded. His formal education was in the theater arts, so it's natural that his writing began with plays. 2 of his works were produced at Drew University while he was a student there. He still enjoys acting and has numerous roles in both professional and amateur productions. His theater background has helped nurture a love for intricate characters and complex situations, and that's evident in his writing. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing well today. Hope you are.
Yes, I am. So where did the idea for Motherless Soul come from?
Oh, well, there's a number of ideas in there in the book. The main one is that individual souls are a part of a larger soul, a spiritual family, so to speak, and that spiritual family travels from life to life to life, from existence to existence together, and that each individual soul has a different relationship with the other souls as it comes into each new existence. That concept came from New Age beliefs, conversations I had with a lot of my friends who believe in the New Age beliefs, and also some on conjectures of my own as well. And what I did was use that structure to explore mother-daughter relationships. The basic story is about an elderly woman named Emily Vinson, who is 82 years old and whose mother died when she was 2. So she doesn't really remember her mother, and she wants to get back to those first 2 years of her life and experience what the woman who gave her life was like. So she contacts a hypnotist. But then in the process of being hypnotized and going back to that section of her life, she discovers that she's had many, many past lives. And in those past lives, what's happened is the same tragedy has occurred over and over again. She's lost her mother at an early stage in her life, and it's impacted her entire life. So the book is kind of a who will do it, because what happens from that point on is the hypnotist and Emily use the experiences that they gain from these regressions to determine who it's going to happen to in the next go-round, and find that tragedy and try to prevent it before it occurs again. So the simple answer to your question is that concept of spiritual families comes from New Age beliefs.
So what are your personal feelings regarding reincarnation and past lives?
Well, I'm not an advocate of reincarnations in particular, but I am open to the belief, and I do accept the belief that people have been regressed and have gone back in time and started speaking languages they didn't know before. So I can accept that as a concept that I not so much believe in, but I'm open to, I would say.
So is your knowledge of hypnotism, is that based on personal experience, or did it come from research, or what?
It probably a little of both. A lot of research, definitely. I've never been professionally hypnotized, but I have experimented with self-hypnosis, and I have gone into trances that are not as clear as what the characters experience in the book, but they have opened me up to new ideas and concepts that I didn't realize were there. Kind of like transcendental meditation almost, but sending me back into places that I didn't really believe existed before I did that.
So how do you feel about the idea of past life regressions?
Well, I definitely feel that they are feasible, and I definitely accept the fact that some people are acquainted enough with their memories that they can that they can reach back in time and find out what they went through in the past and how it's affecting their present life. And I couldn't have written this book if I didn't have that openness to that concept.
Now, the story is set in North Carolina. Why did you choose that setting for your story?
Well, I live in North Carolina, and good writing writes to the small things, the little details, and is concerned about that. And so writing in a setting that I was familiar with made it easier. It's not the only thing I ever do. My next book is probably going to be set in Vermont, and so I'm going to have to be doing a little more research about the weather conditions and what it feels like to live in that state. But this one I set in my home state.
Now, the novel deals with mother-daughter relationships. Was that influenced by personal experience?
Well, yes. My wife and I have raised a son and a daughter, and I could have written about father-son relationships, but I chose mother-daughter relationships. I wanted to stick with the same gender because a father's relationship with his son or a mother's with her daughter is a little different than if you are dealing with the opposite gender, because the feeling is that you've lived this life, and the experiences that your child is going to go through are very similar to the same ones you had, and you want to reach out and prevent the same mistakes from occurring again. And I just think that's a little stronger in a mother-daughter relationship than it would be in, say, a mother-son relationship. And the reason I probably chose mother-daughter as opposed to father-son is because I can be more objective. I can kind of stand back and watch the relationship that my own was in existence in my own family, and I can observe it and think about it and contemplate it a little easier. That also, in addition to that, the mother-child relationship is stronger historically than the father-child relationship. So I wanted to stick with the female gender because I'm dealing with past lives. Some of the past lives I cover in the book go back to prehistoric times, and I'm just touching on that briefly. But there's always been this close-knit relationship of a mother to her child.